Good morning. It's your girl Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration, with another episode of Morning Inspiration with Friends. And this video is for anyone that has been doing the healing work on their emotions, and you are ready to know, am I really ready to give love and receive love differently? If that is you, or you know someone, tap in, share this message because I guarantee you it's going to give you some revelations and insight. Good morning, Paula. Good morning, everyone. I thank you for being here. It is your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration, and we are here with a great message. This is the message that um I've been thinking about this for like the last couple of days. I want to say since Friday. And I just want to share this. I want to share this with us because I think this is something that a lot of people we hear people talking about this. So the last person I heard say this was Dr. Bryant. That's the one who triggered everybody, or the man who was on Cam Newton. Dr. Bryant had said something on a clip. I don't know what show she said it on, but she said something to the effect of people are healing, they're isolating themselves, and they're healing, they're doing all the work, they're self-reflecting, they're identifying the triggers, all those different things. But the problem is that a lot of people do not realize you really know that you're healed or that you are healing when you are in the environment that is causing that type of triggers. So I think about like my father. I remember probably like 2015, 2016. I did like this whole Father's Day thing. Like, I forgive my father for not being here in my life, yada, yada, yada. And God actually corrected me. God was like, okay, that's great. But he's still alive and he's here. You can reach out to him. And it wasn't until I was able to start having conversations with him that nothing bothered me. Like, being in his presence didn't trigger me. I didn't get angry. I wasn't getting frustrated. I wasn't getting upset. That's how I knew I was healing, because I was now in that environment. That's not going to be everyone's situations, because some people you're healing from things that are no longer here, right? People are no longer here. They have hurt you. But for those of you, we know what we're talking about. You are healing from something and you have not been in that environment for quite some time, or you have just had awareness, which is great. I keep telling y'all, awareness is great, but awareness also needs some accountability. It needs some action that's going to go behind this. So this is something that I thought about for myself. Naturally, I'm not an emotional person. I'm not a very affectionate person, and I realized this maybe about 6 months ago, that you know what, you're waiting for a person, and my therapist helped me to realize this. She was like, you're waiting for a person to come along to confirm that you're ready. Like, you're confirming that you're ready for affection, and you're ready for, to be in a committed relationship. And so what I realized with Jelly Bean, which is my dog, um, Jelly Bean has helped me to realize that that is a form of affection, right? Emotional connection, because he's very, very affectionate, right? I'm actually very surprised he's not in the room with me right now as I'm doing this video, because usually he's like all right here in my personal. So I want to take you through the journey of how I ended up here, right? Because I think so many times people will ask these questions, well, what does healing really look like? And I'm going to tell you how healing helped me. And when I had the moments of aha, and then actually going through the different steps of accomplishing and getting to the point of saying yes to Jelly Bean as my dog. So the first time that I really realized it was a problem, first time I realized that I did not have like that emotional affection. My ex-boyfriend, he went to go grab my hand and I smacked him. I smacked his hand, right? And I remember that moment so clearly, because I just went to, and like, I felt bad because it was just like so quick. Like, he's trying to hold my hand. I just like popped him like a child. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm just trying to hold your hand. And that's when I was just like, wow, like I have no natural. And when I think about it, most of my relationships, it's been the same way. There's probably only one person. There is one person. I'm not lying. There was one person prior to 2016 that I never had an issue with. But you know what? Sometimes just because that is working in your life and that those emotions are there, oh, there he is. Say hi. Say hi. Just because there was emotions, okay, no kissing, we don't do that. Um, just because there's emotions there, you got to pay attention to the other things. So that person, yes, easily emotions, affection, all other good stuff. And he was the only person. But in 2016, that's when I realized. And so I had to go down like a rabbit hole of self-reflection, figuring out, what does this mean for me? Why am I like this? I figured out the root cause of it. And then I really did nothing with it. The person that I had met someone at the end of 2016, and we kind of like had a situation until 2017. The only reason why I felt myself being comfortable, being affectionate with him, however, it was very inconsistent. So I didn't feel safe. So that actually made me revert back. So although I did try to put myself in that environment again, I did not feel safe with it because the person was not consistent, and that did not put me in a space. So went through all of that, and it was just like, when you're not dating, you're not in a relationship, I was focusing on everything else but that. So that was never really brought on. I did have moments where I had students because I teach adult education. And so I was teaching in different types of programs. So I was in programs that were a lot of catering to women who were either coming out of domestic violence situations or women that were coming out of, they worked at a company for 20 years and the company just shipped everything overseas to a new company, to a new country, and they didn't go. So they needed that, that nurturing side. Now, I do know I have a nurturing side. That side I'm very aware of it. So I think that's where I find the patience for my students and just that love that they need, because a lot of them are going through different transitions and they need that emotional support. So I know that there's times that I can tap into it. But on a personal level, I was not doing that. So fast forward to 2020, COVID happens. I meet a guy and we basically decided like we're gonna like coexist during quarantine. And that was actually very helpful for me. Now, he and I were never intimate with one another, but he and I used to cuddle, right? And that is intimacy, but we was not sexual. Like, let me just put that. We never had intercourse. So anyone's out here like this, she being a Christian. I was not out here being a floozy. But I'm not calling you a floozy. You out here doing those things. But so that's what shifted in me, right? Meeting someone who allowed me, I felt safe. I could be in his presence, right? We could be together, and just feel safe. That was the first time. And that was the first time I've ever like really enjoyed cuddling. So when that situation ended, I at least wanted to capture, right? I'm one of those people that tell my clients, especially the single ones, right? When we are looking at your past relationships, I want you to find the good things and all those things that you would like to see in your future relationships. And the one thing that I would say about this connection with this gentleman, I want the cuddles. Give me the cuddling. I love how I feel, especially if I feel safe. If I can feel safe and fall asleep around you, that means that my spirit is like, oh, we're good here. We're not in danger. We're not in harm. So that allowed me to open up the doors and kind of like start softening up. And that didn't work out. Went through a little bit more coaching, more healing. Met someone in 2021. That was the first time that I ever felt relaxed. Right, I felt easy. Like, okay, I can lean into this a little bit. I don't have to feel as guarded. So that allowed me, and that was a new form of affection as well for me, because it was just not something that I was accustomed to. That relationship ended in 2022. So you pretty much can say from 2022 to now, 2025, there has been no affection. And I have a desire for it, but I think I still have a fear of it because I'm seeing a lot of the inconsistencies, or they're short term, they're short lived. And I'm just in a space where I'm like, God, I really don't want to deal with I don't want another boyfriend for like 6 months, right? I'm not in that space. I really don't want to keep having, more people in my life who are not going to be here for the long haul. Not at the emotional level, right? Again, I kept telling y'all, God is going to send other people into your life to be blessings, and hopefully not a lesson. but I wanted to do that work. So when 2023 came and I moved out here to Tulsa, checking my cameras, I'm back in New York, and I keep seeing this dog in my yard. And I'm like, I'm afraid of dogs. So if anyone does not know, I am naturally afraid of dogs. And I kept seeing this dog. I'm trying to figure out why is this dog in my yard. When I finally got here in November, full time, like all my stuff is here. The dog kept coming over, and we kept like we built the bonds. When my neighbors, he was my neighbor's dog. They got rid of him, and he started to like be in the streets. He's outside all day. He's bouncing from house to house. He's coming to my house. It was again. It was still inconsistent. And so, because it was so clear, like he's inconsistent, and I'm afraid of affection, I'm afraid of the commitment, I'm afraid of this emotional tie. You know what? Until he's ready, right? So I was doing the same thing that I was doing in relationships, right? I'm waiting for this emotions to come when this person comes along, right? I'm waiting to know that I'm emotional or I can have affection until this person comes along. And I was doing that as well with the dog. And so again, the whole mindset of, we heal in isolation and we're not giving ourselves to tested in environments. I feel like Jelly Bean became the environment that I needed to be tested in. And so when I now look at making that choice, right? So when I came back from Colombia in mid of February, right after Valentine's Day, and couldn't find him, the emotions stirred up, right? I'm really sad. Like I'm sad. I miss him. I miss him coming to my house. I miss him, just making sure that he's okay because we went through a cold winter and no one knew where he was at. And I'm just like, I'm praying, I'm asking God, like, Lord, can you just make sure he's safe? And believe it or not, he was really, really safe. The lady that found him the few days after I last saw him in the end of December, she had him since then, up until when did I get Jelly Bean back? The beginning of May, right after Cinco de Mayo. So when I got him, and it was just like, now I have this dog that is always looking for attention. It's always looking for affection. He wants to lay down with me. He wants to cuddle. He wants to sit on the couch with me. He wants to sit at my feet while I'm working. He just wants to be around. And that is when I realized this dog is here to help me with the emotional healing that I have. And then another thing that I heard someone say, and I mean, you can take it with a grain of salt, but I think it was a guy. A guy said he can't trust a woman who's never had a dog because who doesn't have children or a dog. So he actually was in favor of dating women that had children. But he said, if you don't, because he was like, that shows that she doesn't have any responsibility. Now, when he said that, that lingered in the back of my mind weeks prior to meeting Jelly Bean, or we're getting Jelly Bean back. And I was just like, is that really true? And I feel like in some cases you could see that being the case. I think some people also forget that there are some people who are caretakers for like their parents, for loved ones. So you might not see them with a dog or with children. So don't make the full assumption. But it is kind of true. Like I had a cat, right? And my cat, he was much like me, very independent. He did not care. Don't touch him. Don't cuddle with him, unless he wanted to. And that was very few and far in between. I had Tickles for 17 years. No, I'm lying. I had Tickles for 15 years, right? Tickles and I was like, we saw each other eye to eye. We did not care. Don't touch me, And then we had that a year and a half before he died, when we had COVID. So we was able to bond and get all that affection out that one another. And I think he just knew it was almost his time to leave me. So he gave me that. So, but yeah, so I wanted to share that because I want us to see this is what healing looks like, right? Sometimes healing is getting a dog and saying, I'm going to allow myself to have this emotional connection, right? Oh my gosh, why am I tearing up? Because of Tickles. I miss him. Physical touch. So like my love language is not physical touch. Quality time is my love language. Right? I love quality time. You could be in the same space as me, but my old self would say, you could be here, but don't touch me. right? Now it's you can touch me, right? You can hold me, you can put your arm around me. Okay, now I'm not tearing up. I'm tearing up because of my eyes. I think of my allergies. I'm not tearing. I mean, now I want you to be here. Now I want you to hold hands. Now I want to sit close to you, right? And that is being activated and triggered because of Jelly Bean. He has me in this routine of closeness and just being aware. What are you doing? Oh my gosh, like, the whole babying thing. It's crazy how much my energy has shifted since this dog has been in my life. Because this has really been happening since, like, the closeness didn't happen until he actually moved in. But prior to that, making sure that he's okay, checking in on him. Are you safe? Are you healthy? Those are the things that I was already doing prior to him becoming my dog officially. So, like I said, I want us to get into some kind of routine where now you have to get yourself into the environment, right? So whatever that affection looks like, or whatever that healing that you're working on and that is very important for you, I want you to tap into that, right? I want you to lean into it. And when you lean into it, you're going to see things are going to shift. Things are going to feel different within you. And you're going to now know if there's more that you need to identify with, that you need to self-reflect on. I know for me, one of the things that came up over the weekend, I realized I still overthink emotions, right? I overthink it. I'm a logical, naturally by nature, I'm a logical person. So my walk with God has been challenging because the one thing that God always lets us know, he's not logical. Right? He don't got time for the logic. So I had to stop overthinking the emotions. So now when Jelly Bean comes to me, I'm not thinking about it. I'm leaning into the emotions, right? I'll swoop him up, I'll hold him, I'll let him put his head on my chest or my lap, and he wants to find a comfortable space. I allow that because I understand that this is not the time to think about it, right? We don't want to think about emotions. And this is something that I say that I apologize to the ones that I have contact with. But I remember like 2019, I went through a process where I reached out to my exes and I apologize for that because I can only imagine how hard it is to be in a relationship with someone who's trying to make logic of emotions, right? They're looking at everything from a if P then Q, if Q then P, and that is not how love is supposed to be. Love is supposed to be about emotions, about feelings. And so that is where I'm at, right? And I want you, if you are also on a journey, I also want you to see how this can help you in any aspect. Again, I just want to share with people what healing starts to look like, right? And healing is going to look like a cute picture of your dog. Let me show y'all. Look at that. That was us. And he is just peacefully on my breast, just looking and just so calm. And the old me would have probably looked at that and been like, "What are you doing? Get away from me?" And I just had to lean into it. So I'm going to encourage anyone who is struggling with something like this. I'm going to encourage you. One, don't wait for the human to come in to establish those relationships, right? Don't wait for the human. You can find community, right? Some people just want a hug. You might have great friends, right? Some people have great friends who are huggers. And you might just need that hug, that physical, emotional connection, and you might just need that hug. You might need to go get you a pet. You can even be a foster parent for pets. It does not have to be full time. You can foster for a week, 2 weeks. Every program is different, so I do encourage people to go and check out for their local, for their city. You can go to your family, but then also just finding different affirmations that's going to help you, and just know that it's going to all work out, right? That part of you that you're trying to heal is going to heal. And you're going to get into that safe space where it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good for you. So I am excited. I hope everyone has an amazing day today. And I hope that, as always, if you need to connect with me for anything, my books, my community, my courses, or even my blog, you can go to my link tree. It is down in the description. So if you're on YouTube, it's down there. If you're on Facebook, it's in the description as well. And go over there, head over there and connect with us. I will be sharing some more updates about Jelly Bean. It's mostly on Facebook. So if you are not following me on Facebook and you want to see all the cute things that Jelly Bean is doing and how we are building this relationship, right? This is a brand new relationship. He is an outside street dog. He's used to roaming the streets and having full freedom. So to now have to come in and be in the house all day, well, not all day. I take him outside. But to not have those that true freedom and having some limitations, there are some, it's some challenges, and we're both adjusting. And I'm adjusting to just now thinking about another being, right? It's not just about Tanisha anymore. Y'all know I can't just pack up a car and just go. Now I got to be like, okay, is the hotel dog friendly? Can I bring him in? I got to think about all of these different things now. Whereas prior to that, I never had to think about it, right? It was just me, myself, and I. And now it's Jelly Bean and I, and we are going to conquer the world together, one day at a time. So I am thankful for that. And like I said, I hope that this message has helped. I hope that it does help someone as they're navigating their own journey of healing. So I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be back at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern. I hope you have an amazing day on purpose with purpose. Bye.